You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We're a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. So let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, we're celebrating today National Raspberry Day. I like raspberries. Are you a raspberry person? Do you like? And they're pretty delicate. I like raspberries. Throw a little whipped cream on top. Of course, in my world, anything you throw a little whipped cream on top cannot be bad. So National Raspberry Day, Freezer Pop Day. That's what I think. Isn't that what grandparents give to grandkids when they want to punish the parents? Right, you just give them some freezer pops. All it is really sugar water with a little food coloring in there. And so I neither confirm nor deny the fact that I would give that to my grandson on his way home. Yeah. And today is also National Chocolate with Almonds Day. Now, if you're old like me, you might remember a commercial that ran, and it ran for a long, long time. So it was Almond Joy or Mounds. So we're going to put that as our question of the day. National Almonds with Chocolate Day. Do you feel like a nut or not? And if you remember, it was sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. I dare you to not say that without a little melody behind you. So it's if you remember, Almond Joy has the nuts, Mounds doesn't. So what do you put it in the chat? What do you think? Almond Joy or Mounds? Mitchell in the chat, Almond Joy or Mounds. What are you thinking? If you're watching us on ABC News and Talk AM 1490 FM 98.1, yell at your radio. We'll know that you did it, and somebody in the car right next to you might say the same thing. So we're just watching these markets. Let's take a look at what the markets are doing today. Dow Jones Industrial Average is down almost 70 points. The S&P 500 is down 0.8. Call that flat. NASDAQ up 37.88. Oil down 84 cents a barrel following the long weekend. Do we want to look at gas prices? Yeah, I got to go fill up today. $4.79 a gallon is the national average. Regular unleaded gas, I guess regular unleaded. That's, again, dating myself because there was a day when we had leaded gasoline. Not anymore. So $4.79 a gallon. Probably going to be a little bit less than that in the big cities if you're along the side of the highway, especially if you're parked there in the heat. It might be closer to $6 a gallon. Wonder what's happening to all these people. I heard that going from Bakersfield to the San Fernando Valley, like 2.5 hours right now. And it's normally about an hour drive. So my question, I wonder what's happening if you've got a electric vehicle. Think is it gonna affect that, especially because you're gonna be going at 2-3 miles an hour, and yes, you're gonna be dealing with the heat. It's hot out there today. Although I don't know why it is, but if you look on the map, I broadcast from a undisclosed location here in the city of Orange. So if you look at it on the map, Orange is not nearly as hot as where it is if you get into the Inland Empire, if you get out to Palmdale, Lancaster, some of the Simi Valley areas. And of course, if you're in the Coachella Valley, it's really hot out there. So be careful. Keep the water flowing. Did you see a motorcycle rider? I don't know, Josh. Do you see that one? The motorcycle rider that went out into the Mojave Desert. Probably not a good idea to be out there 124 degrees. If you're smart, you've got a lot of protective gear on, and the person did not make it. So, be careful if you're doing that kind of stuff. I'm not a motorcycle person anyway. I kind of laugh at motorcycles a little bit, tongue in cheek. I look at it, my car, I've got to have a seatbelt, airbag, all this safety equipment, mandatory. And then you look at a motorcycle that goes right past me, sharing the lanes. I don't know if I know all states don't have it. California, lane sharing is legal. And I wonder how much of the motorcycle accidents come from lane sharing, because you just don't see them all the time. And I look, and if I see a motorcycle or hear a motorcycle coming up along behind me, I'll move over as far as I can in the lane, because that's what they're doing. They're lane sharing. But I wonder how many of the accidents come from the motorcycles get into your blind spot, you don't see them, and you move over. Unfortunately, most people have this problem, and I don't know why it is, but there's this lever that's on the left side of your steering wheel. So a lot of people have trouble with this. It's called a turn signal. And if you lift up on that lever, you got these lights that go on your car front and back that are blinking. If you lift up, it's going to be on the right side. If you push down, it'll be on the left side, called turn signals. A lot of times motorcyclists are watching those. They do see them. But again, I digress. It's got to be pretty warm driving in a motorcycle or riding a motorcycle. And again, I don't do it, but I don't know. So be careful out there. Just be careful. That's all I'm throwing out at you. We're doing a lot lately with our Borrow Smart programs. We're going to talk today about Borrow Smart, Repay Smart. And it's a whole different philosophy. I lead a lending team, and we do a lot in the home mortgage space. And I've been watching and listening and seeing how does the Borrow Smart process completely alter what people are looking at, how people are seeing these different programs. And I'm going to share with you that in the Borrow Smart process, we're looking at suitability as well as eligibility. Now, most lenders don't ever talk about suitability. They only talk about eligibility. What does that mean? Well, they talk about the idea that you qualify, that's eligible for a loan of X amount. Okay, that's well and good. But the bottom line here is that what's right for you? And so many people say, okay, I want a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. Well, how long are you going to be in the house? 5 years. Well, then why are you paying extra money for that 30-year fixed rate mortgage? What if you went with a 7-year fixed 30-year amortization and it adjusts? If you're going to only be there 5 years, do you know how much money it makes for you? It saves you. Just if you saved $50 a month on the payment. Think about that over time with a great financial advisor. We're going to be talking about that in the days and weeks to come. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, we're not looking at a crash. 3 graphs we're going to show you that show how today's inventory differs from 2008. Homeownership, the heart of the American dream. The benefits of moving your credit card payment dates and how to do it and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Homeowners over the age of 62 are taking back financial control after retirement with reverse mortgages, and the Siegel Lending Team is here to help you use it to your advantage. Call Ron Siegel with Geneva Financial to receive your free information booklet with no obligation. The booklet answers all your questions, and the best part is, you still own your home. Call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990 or visit ronsiegelradio.com.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at RonIsMyLender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. RonIsMyLender.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. 1990, the Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And every day at this time, OPMMI. They provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35%. Of all mortgage transactions nationwide, what did rates do on Friday after that jobs report that came out? Let's see, conventional loans down 6.896, jumbo loans down 7.098, FHA loans down 6.669, USDA loans down 6.618, and the best loan on the market, starter loan for the veterans, our favorite people in the whole wide world, veterans. 30-year VA loan, 6.339. That is down as well. And just remember, even though you're eligible, remember I spoke in the last segment about suitability and eligibility? Well, you're eligible for a VA loan if you meet the VA requirements. But is it most suitable for you? And I'm going to share that maybe the Home Select product from our friends at Geneva Financial might be even better. But I digress. If you want to get our market thoughts, rsrmarketminute.com, rsrmarketminute.com. That's our market thoughts. We put those out as early as the data allows each morning, rsrmarketminute.com. Let's take a look and see what's going on in the markets today. The S&P 500 now is down 2.67. The 10-year Treasury, if my screen will refresh, is going to tell me that we are flat. Ooh, we were down earlier in the session. We're flat right now. Mortgage-backed securities up 2 basis points means they're doing absolutely nothing. When you go up 2 basis points, remember the bond, the rate goes the opposite direction of the bond. And 2 basis points up on the bond means the rate is flat. We do have a big week ahead. What's driving the markets right now is all just sit and wait. Got nothing to do. We've got a CPI report that's coming out on Friday. That's going to be the big news. Headline replacement number. Now, remember, we're always looking at what the year over the CPI number is. We never talked really on Ron Siegel Radio about how you get that CPI number. There is a CPI number every single month. And all it is just looking at what is this month and the last 11. Well, every month you're dropping off that 12th one all the way back to 12 months earlier. So when we get the number coming out, it'll be June's number that'll come out on Friday. Well, we drop off June's number from last year, 2023, and we replace it with June's number, 2024. We're replacing a number of 0.21. June's expectations for this time is 0.1. So if we see that 0.1 monthly read, we should see year-over-year headline inflation decline from 3.3 to 3.1. I know. If you say, Ron, you just dropped it by 0.11, and when you say year-over-year, it went from 3.3 to 3.1, well, that's because of the way the rounding works. So don't think that I lost my marbles completely. I might have over the weekend, but that's a different story. Core replacement is 0.195. The expectations there is to go from 0.2 to 0.28 is what the expectations are. So that means we'll probably see, depending on the results, we could see core inflation remain unchanged at 3.4 year over year or increase to 3.5%, which would likely be a bad thing for the market. So we're going to be watching all of those things for you. We'll report on them. And again, this week, because you've got so many people are out on holiday, and so we did get a lot of holidays that were people were doing absolutely nothing. And then you get the jobs report that came out on Friday. Most of us realize anymore that the jobs report is just bogus. It's a shame that it's bogus, but it is. We deal with that all the time. We've been reporting that to you. And now we're seeing, if you look at our market minute that we came out with this morning, we're actually looking at certain areas where the private sector is able to give some garbage data. So think about that one as well. That was fascinating. Yes, and I do look at all this data and I analyze it to chat with you, to give you this information, but you can get the areas where we're seeing some abnormalities, I guess we can say, abnormalities. And when we see those abnormalities, we kind of spook people. But I do have we get some information from Danielle DiMartino Booth. She does share data that we find very, very enlightening. And we accumulate that along with other data. And that's where we come up with our market minute. If you want that report again, rsrmarketminute.com, rsrmarketminute.com. And again, we send it out to the subscriber list. We put it on our social channels. We get that out there, again, as early as we can. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial when you're ready for that next home loan. Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. I've been teasing you for quite a bit. Last week we had a lot of great guests on the program, so I couldn't get you all the reports that I wanted to get you. But let's talk about Your Credit Matters, brought to you by RSRDebtFree.com. RSRDebtFree.com is our sponsor for this. And we've been talking to you about this one. And it is the benefits of moving your credit card payment dates and how to do it. The benefits of moving your credit card payment dates and how to do it. Let's see if I can get the report to come up. Oh, that's not the right report, so we'll try it again. You got to love it. It's Monday morning. I mean, yeah, there it is. We got the report. Credit card payments can be tricky for a handful of reasons. Just staying on top of your balances can be a challenge. And if you're juggling multiple credit cards and payments, interesting, my screen just popped on me again. It can be easy to let a few of them slide. Credit card balances aren't getting any smaller. Data from Experian reveals the average credit card debt in the U.S. in 2023 was $6,501, an increase of 10% from the prior year. And a recent survey finds that 23% of Americans report going deeper into credit card debt each month. 14% share that they missed a credit card payment in 2023. And while moving your payment due dates around won't reduce your balances, it could be a simple way to help keep your credit card payments more manageable. Let's take a look at the benefits of going this route and how to do it. Moving your payment due dates makes it easier to budget. The main advantage of moving your payment due dates is greater flexibility and an easier time budgeting. By timing your payments until you get paid, you can make it easier to stay on top of your finances. Moving your due dates around can also help you avoid late payments. As you might imagine, late payments are among the top things that can hurt your FICO score. A payment that's due on the 1st or 15th of the month, for example, might be easier to remember than one that's due on the random date during the month. Moving the payment due dates on your credit cards can also help simplify paying your bills. If you have a lot of payments due each month, scaling down to 1 or 2 due dates may help you batch the task of paying bills. As mentioned, you have a cluster of credit card payments due near each month's end that is due right when, you guessed it, your rent is due. You might have a harder time staying on top of your payments. So by strategically seeing where your other rent or mortgage bills and other major expenses with set due dates are, you can look into shifting your credit card payment dates to smooth out your finances. Your bill cycle, which is period between the statement date and your payment due date, is usually anywhere from 28 to 31 days. Your credit card bill for each card is due the same day each month. For instance, you might have one due every 25th of the month and another every 7th. Let's say you get paid twice a month on the 15th and the 30th. If most of your major bills are due at the end of the month, consider moving your credit card payment due dates around mid-month. Or if your cards have due dates that are spread throughout the month, consider requesting that they be moved to the same date. Depending on the credit card issuer, you can request a payment due date change online or through the issuer's mobile app. Of course, you can also ask your card issuer. If you want to move your due date, you don't have to provide any explanation. If your issuer offers this service and it will make it easier to manage your bills, do not feel bad about taking advantage of it. One method is to cluster your credit card payment dates around your paychecks. That way you can be confident that you have the funds to cover the payments. If you're moving to a better time bill, if you're moving it to better time bills to your payday, make sure you build in a little bit of a buffer in case your paycheck is delayed due to a holiday or other hiccup. On the flip side, staggering your payments throughout the month or around your paychecks could help make it more manageable. It depends on your cash flow, when your bills or other major expenses are due, and your preferences. Set up alerts and allow for a transition time. Once you've settled on the ideal due dates for your cash flow and preferences and made the changes, it may take a little while to get the hang of when your credit card bills are due. Like any change to your financial flow and money management systems, you'll want to pay close attention to your credit card statements. That way you'll know when the new due dates take effect. Consider setting up alerts so you don't accidentally miss a payment. Or better yet, set up auto pay. There are a lot of advantages to changing your credit card payment date, staying on time with your payments, simplifying your finances, and making it easier to budget, to name a few. Before making these changes, consider which approach works best for you and prepare to buffer for a bit of transition time. We've talked about this a bit in the past. Don't forget the simple way of doing this. rsrccpayment.com. rsrccpayment.com. We show you right there how to make this work for you. rsrccpayment.com. So you're setting up all of your payments so that they're paid twice a month. Once, and if you change the date, that's fine. Just make sure you change that minimum payment to go right before the payment due date. You're setting up your maximum payment right before your statement closing date. Before. Remember, that has to do with the credit utilization, and we're going to talk about that later in the broadcast. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, understanding accounts that may affect your credit utilization. We're going to also talk about our Borrow Smart, suitability versus eligibility, and the heart of the American dream, homeownership. All that and more. Reach me anytime off air, number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you missed any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Confused about the home buying process? Or curious how much you really know about buying a home? Take the first Home IQ quiz to test your understanding of buying a home. Created by the nonprofit First Home IQ, this 5-minute quiz will give you a score, what you missed, and why. Take the quiz in 5 minutes at rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and find out what you need to know about buying your first home. That's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
We're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime. At 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. The heart of the home ownership, the heart of the American dream. Of course it is. Everyone's vision for the future is personal and unique, but for many, common goals include success, freedom, and prosperity. Values closely tied to having your own home and the iconic feeling of achieving the American dream. A recent survey by Bankrate reveals exactly that. Home ownership is still part of the American dream. The results show at 78% that owning a home tops the list, surpassing other significant milestones such as retirement, having a successful career, and more. 78% owning a home is what they say. Yeah, being able to retire 65, having a successful career 65, owning a car 54, having children 45, getting a college degree 35. So why is buying a home important to so many today? One reason is the financial and physical security it provides. Many people see home ownership as a way to reduce stress because owning a home with a fixed rate mortgage stabilizes what is likely their largest monthly expense. Another factor is the potential for building wealth. That's because over time, homeowners gain equity as they pay down their mortgage and as home prices appreciate, leading to longer-term financial stability. But what about the responsibilities that come with owning and maintaining a home? According to a survey by Entrada, only 23% of renters feel homeownership is too much work, indicating the majority are open to the commitments and obligations that come with being a homeowner. What does this mean for you? While buying a home today might seem daunting due to higher mortgage rates and rising home prices, the long-term benefits can make it worthwhile. If you're considering home ownership, remember that it's more than just a financial investment. It's a step towards securing your future. Bottom line, owning a home is a significant and powerful decision that represents a big part of the American dream. If you're ready to take this step, give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. That is the real-time real estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. I do hear a lot of folks talking about the idea that, well, they're going to wait for prices to come down on the real estate, or they're going to wait for interest rates to come down. Well, here's the issue. You can do all that, and very few people are going to talk to you the way I'm going to share with you right now. It's not going to work. Why? Well, the biggest issue people have is, well, I'm going to save more money for my down payment. What do you think your down payment needs to be? Well, the answer is, well, maybe we should give you the quiz. Go to rsrlinks.com/FHIQ. rsrlinks.com/FHIQ. And you can actually take our quiz. It takes about 5 minutes. rsrlinks.com/FHIQ. And believe it or not, the average person right now, you could be better. They're getting a 57 on the quiz. 57% accuracy. Now, why would that be? I'm going to share with you that the reason that is most people are not spending any time understanding what's going on here. Go to that, take the quiz, see what your number comes up as. But here's the issue. You don't need 20% down. A lot of folks say, well, my parents told me I need 20% down. No, you don't. Get a house that you can afford at using either a 3% down payment or a 3.5% down payment if you qualify. And many, many people will. Why? Well, let's say you're buying a house for $400,000. 3% down on a $400,000 house, $12,000. Now, beg, borrow, don't steal. Ask mom and dad, ask your friends, ask anybody you can that you can get that money from. $12,000. Not a loan, you need a gift because loans don't work. But here's the issue. You get that $400,000 house if you're in Southern California, Orange County in specific, you're looking at 5% appreciation, 5.3% appreciation. So if you wait a year to buy that $400,000 house, now it's $420,000 because of the appreciation. And think about the 420. Now that means you've got to have a bigger down payment. So it's always running away from you because of the appreciation and inflation. Both numbers are hurting people. Now, real estate is a big, big hedge against inflation. Why? Because the property appreciates. So we want to get you into the property as quick as you can if interest rates come down, and they should. But if they come down, we restructure to get you a more suitable product. That's why I mentioned to you earlier that we're looking and saying, does it make sense to do a 30-year fixed rate loan? Well, if that's the only way that you can get into the property, yes. But FHA offers a 5-year adjustable. Maybe that's what your best answer is to get in. Again, even if you're saving just a few dollars a month. Do you know, if you listen to Ron Siegel Radio on a regular basis, you do. Do you know it takes about 25 years, 22 to 25 years to pay off half of a 30-year fixed rate loan? 22 to 25 years. Why is that? Because the vast majority of your money at the early years is going to interest expense. Now, the interest expense it diminishes every single month. Your payment doesn't change, but the interest expense does because a portion of your payment went to principal. So you're paying a little bit less interest every month, and that's why it's going to take you 22 to 25 years to pay half that mortgage. Now, if we can get a way to save you $50 a month because we're using an adjustable rate loan versus a fixed rate loan, and you still apply that to your principal, well, now you're going to have that loan paid off even sooner. What happens when you get a tax refund? Well, it may make sense to apply that to the principal. Maybe not. Let's talk about a different scenario. What happens if instead of putting that money into the mortgage, you have to be disciplined now, but you put that into a side account that's growing faster than the effective interest rate of your mortgage? Well, Ron, what's an effective interest rate? It's your interest rate less your tax benefit. So if you're getting a 6% interest rate, I mean, and I don't know what you qualify for. I'm just throwing a number out there because it's easy math. Say you get a 6% interest rate, and you're in the 33% tax bracket, your effective interest rate is 4%. 33% off of that 6. So 6 times 33%, 2. 2 off of 6 is 4. Your effective interest rate is 4%. Now, if you go with any of the financial advisors that we recommend from Ron Siegel Radio, well, most of them can get you 8 to 10%, no guarantees, but most of them can get you 8 to 10% return. So you're borrowing at an effective rate of 4, getting 8 to 10. They're going to put it in something that's tax advantaged for you. We have to do that as well. We're watching the taxes on that side. But then at some point in the future, the amount that's in that side account keeps growing and growing and growing, and you're already making payments on your mortgage, so that loan amount is dropping and dropping and dropping. You'll have an opportunity at some point to just write a check if you want to, and you won't, but you'll have a check to write. You'll have the ability to write a check to pay off your mortgage. Now, I have a lot of people that say, "Well, Ron, I want to be mortgage free or debt free from my mortgage." Why? If you can borrow at an effective rate of 4 and you can get a return of 8 to 10, well, you're doubling that money. That money is going to double when you're doubling the return. Think about that at 7%, 7.2% to be exact. Your money is going to double every 10 years. If they get a 10% return, your money in that side account is doubling every 7 years. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is a concept that we're going to talk about a lot. The last double is the important one. The last double, what does that mean? So let's just say that you get, and I'm going to use a big number here because it's easy for math, but let's just say you have $100,000 in a side account, and that doubles 200, and that doubles. Okay, so we're getting 10% is we're using for our math. So every 7 years, it's doubling. So in year 7, that 100,000 is 200,000. In year 14, that 200,000 is now 400,000. In year 21, that 400,000 is now 800,000. In year 28, that 800,000 is 1.6 million. Do you see how the last double is the important one? In year 35, that 1.8 million becomes a 3.6. Massive numbers. So by starting out small, and again, if you did it as 10,000, it's going to come out big numbers anyway. It's going to still come out to very, very large numbers because of the way the interest works. We want you to understand that. That's what we're going to spend a lot of time on Ron Siegel Radio, is we're talking about borrow smart, and just as important as borrow smart is repay smart. Borrow smart, repay smart. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, not a crash, 3 graphs that show how today's inventory differs from 2008, understanding accounts that may affect your credit utilization ratio, and more. Reach me anytime. Off air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a renter and tired of making monthly payments? Paying off someone else's mortgage? Hey, it's Ron Siegel here to help you stop renting and start owning your dream home with amazing low interest rates. And you could potentially qualify for a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket. So stop renting. Start owning with Ron Siegel. Learn more at RonSiegelRadio.com and start owning today. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey there, friends. Wondering if now is the right time to buy a home? Or are you waiting for a bunch of foreclosures? The facts speak loud and clear. Defaults and foreclosures are down. Sure, we might be headed towards a recession. But did you know interest rates typically drop and real estate values often go up during a recession? So what are you waiting for? Higher prices or higher payments? Don't navigate these waters alone. Connect with RonSiegelRadio.com today. That's RonSiegelRadio.com.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you could retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis, rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Hey friends, do you dream of mortgage-free home ownership? Are you aware that even if you own your home free and clear, it could still be costing you thousands per year? The Siegel Lending Team can help you generate tax-free income, accumulate family wealth, and maintain ownership of your home. By simply emailing your most recent mortgage statement, you'll receive a no-obligation real estate plan. Learn more by calling 1-800-306-1990 or email me your recent mortgage statement to PEAR@RonSiegelRadio.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message. And I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by rsrdebtfree.com, rsrdebtfree.com. Do you have bills that exceed 60 days worth of payment? Means you can't pay them off in the next 60 days. Credit card debt, buy now, pay later debt, private student loans. Maybe you got a car foreclosures that we're seeing a lot of that now again. Have any of these things going on? Well, if you do, rsrdebtfree.com. Fill out the form. We'll reach out to you and we'll either look at, does a debt consolidation loan work for you? Have equity in your property. That's how we do that one. Or maybe you need to talk to our friend Chris Corrales. And they can negotiate for you on your behalf and maybe help you out in negotiating down some of those balances to make them a little bit more doable. Understanding accounts that may affect your credit utilization ratio is the subject. Your revolving credit utilization ratio is part of the amounts owed category, which can affect about 30% of a typical person's FICO scores. This makes it a potentially significant factor, and FICO score considers your overall utilization rate and the highest utilization rates on specific revolving credit accounts. Here's a primer on which accounts are part of the calculations, which balances matter, and whether carrying a balance on a credit card could help your FICO score so that you can make better informed decisions about managing your credit. Credit cards affect utilization. Credit cards are the most commonly used revolving credit accounts. You can borrow money by using your credit card, pay less than the full balance, and revolve the remainder to your next billing cycle. FICO scores consider credit cards accounts that are in your credit report when calculating your credit utilization ratios. This could include accounts that you open on your own and accounts that you're an authorized user on. What about charge cards? Charge cards often look like credit cards, and you might be able to use them to make purchases online and in stores. However, charge cards are open lines of credit, not credit cards, which are revolving credit accounts. With a charge card, you can borrow money, pay off the loan, and borrow money again without applying for a new account. But you often have to pay off the entire balance each month. You can't revolve a portion of the balance with a charge card. Generally, if the card issuer reports the charge card as an open credit account, it will not be included in the revolving credit utilization calculations. What about debit cards? Debit cards don't affect your credit utilization because they aren't revolving credit accounts and they are not reported to the credit reporting agencies. You're not borrowing money when you make a purchase with your debit card unless you overdraw your account. However, some companies offer bank accounts with an accompanying card for building credit. These cards function like debit cards, allowing you to make purchases and have the amount immediately withdrawn from your account to cover the balance, but they might actually be secured credit cards. If the company reports the card as a secured card to the credit bureaus, it could affect your credit utilization ratio. Number 2, personal lines of credit affect utilization. An unsecured personal line of credit is another type of revolving credit account. Similar to a credit card, you may receive a maximum credit limit, can take out loans against a credit line, and repay the balance over time, sometimes making interest only or minimum monthly payments. Alternatively, the line of credit may have an initial draw period when you can take out loans. The draw period is followed by a repayment period when you have to repay the outstanding balance on a fixed schedule. As a type of revolving credit account, your personal lines of credit could affect your credit utilization rate. What about a home equity line of credit? The home equity line of credit, HELOC, is similar to a personal line of credit, except you use your home as collateral to secure the line of credit. FICO scores treat HELOCs different than unsecured personal lines of credit. The HELOC is still considered a revolving credit account in terms of your credit mix. Your payment history amount owed and the account's age can also affect your FICO scores. However, the FICO score generally excludes HELOCs from credit utilization calculations. Closed revolving accounts with balances affect utilization. Sometimes card issuers will close past due credit cards. You also might choose to close an account and then pay off the balance over time. FICO scores would consider these closed revolving accounts with a balance in utilization calculations. Once the current balance is reported as zero, the closed account will no longer be included in your credit utilization. This is why closing a paid-off credit card might increase your utilization rate. The available credit on the card will no longer be included in your total available credit. Keep in mind, knowing which accounts the FICO score considers when calculating credit utilization is important. Additionally, you may want to consider the following tips. FICO scores use the credit limits and balances from your credit report to calculate utilization, which may be different from the current balances that you see when your checking account. A low utilization rate might be better for your FICO score than a zero utilization rate. Keep it down just below 10% is where the best numbers are going to be. Just below 10%. You don't have to carry a balance to have credit utilization because card issuers generally report your account information before your bill is due. That's why we tell you at rsrccpayment.com, rsrccpayment.com, pay the bill right before the statement closing date. Leave a balance on there because you're going to pay that with the automatically set up payment that's at the payment due date. Some people recommend keeping individual account and overall utilization rates under 30%, but the 30% point doesn't determine who has good or bad credit. A lower utilization rate could be even better. For example, people with 850 FICO scores have an average overall utilization rate about 4.1%. So like I said, stay under 10. Most FICO scores only calculate and consider utilization rates based on the most recently reported account information. However, FICO score 10T considers trends in your credit history, which may include trends related to your utilization. Just had an interesting one recently that I saw, and I will share it with you. This is why I do this intentionally. So I paid off an auto balance. One of my cars just paid off, and my FICO score dropped 19 points. 19 points by paying off the car. Why? Because it's an installment loan that affects the credit mix. So because that installment loan is now paid off, my score actually dropped again by 19 points. So not a whole lot you can do about it. I mean, the loan is due. You pay it on time. That's just the way it works. That is Your Credit Matters, brought to you by rsrdebtfree.com. rsrdebtfree.com. Again, if you've got debts that are more than 60 days out, let's talk about it. Let's see how we can get you out of those debts. Part of our Repay Smart process. Your Credit, our real-time real estate, brought to you by rsrmoney.com. Got 3 graphs that show you how today's inventory differs from 2008. A lot of our younger audience, our millennials, all they know about is the recession of 2008, and they think we're heading there again. Even if you didn't own a home at that time, you probably remember the housing crisis in 2008. That crash impacted the lives of countless people, and many now live with the worry that something like that could happen again. But rest easy, because things are different than they were back then. As Business Insider says, quote, though many Americans believe the housing market is at risk of crashing, the economists who study housing market conditions overwhelmingly do not expect a crash in 2024 or beyond. Here's why experts are so confident. For the market and home prices to crash, there'd have to be too many houses for sale. But the data doesn't show that's happening right now. There's an undersupply, not an oversupply like last time. And that's true even with the inventory growth we've seen this year. You see, the housing supply comes from three main sources. Homeowners deciding to sell their houses, that's existing home sales. New home construction, new built homes, and distressed properties, foreclosures or short sales. If we look at those three main sources of inventory, you'll see it's clear this isn't like 2008. Homeowners deciding to sell their houses, although the supply of existing previously owned homes is up compared to this time last year, it's still low overall. And while this varies by local market nationally, the current month's supply is well below the norm and even further below what we saw during the crash. If you're watching us on ronsiegelradio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you are seeing a chart, average annual inventory of homes for sale. And you can see that other than in 2000, during the Great Recession, going from 2006 until 2012, you're seeing that we're way, way below as far as the month's supply of homes for sale. What does this mean? There just are not enough homes available to make values drop. To have a repeat of 2008, there'd need to be a lot more people selling their houses with very few buyers, and that's not the case right now. New home construction, people are also talking a lot about what's going on with the newly built houses these days, and that might make you wonder if home builders are overdoing it. Even though new homes make up a larger percentage of the total inventory than the norm, there's no need for alarm. Here's why. Again, another graph. This is from the census to show the number of new houses built over the last 52 years. The orange on the graph shows the overbuilding that happened in the lead up to the crash. And if you look at the red in the graph, you'll see that builders have been underbuilding pretty consistently since then. Are there not more people in the world right now? Not more people in the country right now? Are there not more people that are having babies and getting married and all the rest? Just too much of a gap to make up. Builders aren't overbuilding today. They're catching up. A recent article from Bankrate says, what's more, builders remember the Great Recession all too well, and they've been cautious about the pace of construction. The results is an ongoing shortage of homes for sale. Distressed properties. This is the foreclosures and short sales. The last place inventory came from is distressed properties, including short sales and foreclosures. During the housing crisis, there was a flood of foreclosures due to lending standards that allowed many people to get a home that they could not afford. Today, lending standards are much tighter, resulting in more qualified buyers and far fewer foreclosures. One more graph from Adam to show how things have changed since that. Again, foreclosures, unbelievably low. If you look at the graph, there were the 2020 to part of 2022, there was a moratorium on foreclosures, but we're still at some of the historic lows. Graph makes it clear as lending standards got tighter and buyers became more qualified, the number of foreclosures started to go down. And in 2020, 2021, the combination of a moratorium on foreclosures and the forbearance programs helped prevent a repeat of the wave of foreclosures we saw in the market when the market crashed. While you may see headlines that foreclosure volume is ticking up, remember that's only compared to recent years when very few foreclosures happen. We're still below the normal level we'd see in a typical year. What does this mean for you? Inventory levels aren't anywhere near where they'd need to be for prices to drop significantly and the housing market to crash. As Forbes explains, quote, as already high home prices continue trending upward, you may be concerned that we're in a bubble ready to pop. However, the likelihood of a housing market crash, a rapid drop in sustainably high home prices due to waning demand remains low for 2024, unquote. Mark Fleming, chief economist at First American, points to the laws of supply and demand as a reason why we aren't headed for a crash. Quote, there's just generally not enough supply. There are more people than housing inventory. It's Econ 101, unquote. Lawrence Yoon, chief economist at the National Association of Realtors, says, quote, we will not have a repeat of 2008 to 2012 housing market crash. There are no risky subprime mortgages that can implode, nor the combination of a massive oversupply and overproduction of homes, unquote. Bottom line, the market doesn't have enough available homes for a repeat of 2008 housing crisis, and there's nothing that suggests that will change anytime soon. That's why housing experts and inventory data tell us there isn't a crash on the horizon. That is the real-time real estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. And as always, we ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.